"You don't belong here, just the fool who keeps shelling out," Jacob sneered, slipping my $2,100 envelope into his pocket. "Watch me take it all back," I shot back, snatching the cash, canceling their payments, and cutting ties for good. I handed my brother an envelope, heavy with $2,100 in cash, sealed tight. Inside were 3 tidy bundles of $100 bills, secured with clips. Enough to cover his rent for 3 months. No card, no note, just cold, hard money. I figured he'd get it. He opened it slowly, like he knew it was from me and didn't bother acting grateful. He glanced at the bills, arched a brow, and announced loudly enough for everyone to hear, "He's trying to buy his way into being relevant." Laughter erupted, loud and unrestrained. My dad clapped. My mom stifled a chuckle behind her hand. Aunt Lena wheezed. Someone muttered, "Brutal." I stood there, clutching a lukewarm coffee mug, questioning why I'd even shown up. No one said thank you. Not one. "Hey, this helps." Jacob acted like $2,100 just materialized in his life weekly. He's 23, jobless, no work history, spending his days napping, gaming, or pretending to job hunt. My parents call him a late bloomer. I call him a professional leech. I reached over, took the envelope from his hands, stuffed it into my coat, and said evenly, "Good to know." Just those 3 words. The room froze. The laughter stopped, silverware silenced. I didn't shout. I didn't look angry. I just stood, slipped on my jacket. Mom spoke first. "Elliot, don't do this." He was kidding. Then Dad, "Come on, he didn't mean it. Sit, eat something." Then the aunts chimed in. "Don't ruin Christmas. You're overreacting. You know Jacob." "Yeah, I do. That's the issue." What they didn't know was I'd been on edge for months. I'd been paying their rent, groceries, utilities. Every excuse, Dad's bad back, Mom's sudden career break, ended with me wiring money to keep them afloat. No one ever asked if I was okay. They just assumed I'd always show up, always pay, always be the dependable one. While Sarah spent the holidays with her family in Maine, I was here being mocked for doing too much. So I told them, clearly and calmly, this was the last month I'd cover their bills. Starting next month, Jacob would need to handle his own rent. I was done being the family bank. That's when they lost it. Voices rose. Everyone had an opinion. I was too sensitive. I'd regret this. It was just a joke. I needed to toughen up. But I didn't yell. I didn't explain. I didn't justify. I just walked out, leaving the door ajar. No slamming, no theatrics, just cold air and the quiet truth that something in me had finally broken. And oddly, walking away from that Christmas scene was the easiest thing I'd done in years. The fallout began the next day. Missed calls, essay-long texts, guilt-drenched voicemails. Mom went full melodrama. "You humiliated your brother on Christmas. We've been through enough. We've always relied on you." She didn't mention the envelope. She didn't mention Jacob's words. She jumped straight to blaming my reaction. I ignored it all, didn't read a single message. By day 2, they got bolder. Mom texted, "Your dad wants to talk man to man. Don't shut him out." So I went for dinner. I wasn't expecting much, but I figured I'd let them speak so I could say my piece. Jacob was exactly as I'd imagined, hunched over his phone, silent. Mom played perfect host, like it was a holiday feast, not a family crisis meeting. Dad tried small talk, something about crypto markets, which was laughable since I'd been covering their electric bill for 3 months. After dinner, the real talk came. Dad spoke about perspective, how money can strain families, how things got out of hand. He sort of apologized. Then came the real reason, not remorse, but a request. "If you could just help with February, we'll be fine. I've got a job prospect." Jacob's considering a course. It's just bad timing. That's when I knew they still didn't get it. I explained it wasn't just about one envelope. For 2 years, I'd been paying their bills, fixing their car, covering Jacob's overdrafts, and how was I thanked? With sarcasm, dismissal. They mocked me for handling what they couldn't. Jacob finally looked up from his phone and muttered, "No one asked you to." I gave a short laugh, stood, and said they had 30 days to start acting like adults. Mom started crying. Dad said I was going too far. Jacob went back to his screen. I left my house key on the hallway table and walked out without a goodbye. A week later, Mom texted, "Rent's due in 5 days. Please send something." I sent $1 on Venmo with the note, "More than I can spare." That was the last payment I ever sent. At first, it was quiet. They probably thought I'd come crawling back with cash and apologies like always. But I didn't. I was done. What they didn't know was Sarah and I had been living together since November. Nothing grand, just 2 people comfortable together. Her family didn't know much about me beyond polite hellos at gatherings. They saw me as reserved, courteous, unremarkable. But after Christmas, things shifted. Sarah's dad called one afternoon, asking if I could help fix a shelf in their garage. I agreed, not just because I had time, but because I liked him. We spent hours working together, talking about tools and classic cars, nothing heavy. Then he invited me for dinner. I said yes. That meal led to more, then a weekend visit, then a surprise invite to her cousin's New Year's brunch. And something strange happened. They treated me like a person, not a wallet, not someone to guilt or use. They asked about my work, my hobbies, even what music I liked. Sarah's mom asked if I liked banana bread. I said yes. And the next day, she baked one just because I'd mentioned it. It was so simple, so kind, and it hit me. Until then, I'd been a guest in my own life. On New Year's Eve, we sat by Sarah's parents' fireplace, drinking hot cider, swapping stories about bad first dates when a text came from Jacob. Need $350 for a new TV. Ours broke. No hello, no apology, just a demand, like nothing had happened. I sent $1 with the note. That should cover it. He didn't reply. That was the last I heard from them. By mid-January, the silence was noticeable. No messages, no calls, no sudden pleas for help. And oddly, it unsettled me. I was so used to being needed that the quiet felt like a warning. Then one evening, a knock came at 8 p.m., freezing outside. I opened the door and there was my dad. No call, no text. Just standing there like it was normal to show up unannounced. He didn't ask if it was a good time. He didn't wait for me to speak. He walked in like he still had some claim to the space. Sarah wasn't home, thankfully, out with her sister. I wasn't ready for her to see this part of my life yet. He didn't sit, just stood in the middle of the room and said, "I need to talk about something serious." I leaned against the wall and waited. Then he said it. They were 2 months behind on the mortgage. The bank had been calling. That morning, a final notice was taped to their door. They needed $6,500 to avoid foreclosure. I stayed silent. He explained. He said he'd been job hunting, his disability claim was pending, Jacob was struggling but trying to get on track. I asked one question. "Where's Jacob right now?" He looked down and said, "In his room, probably gaming." Then he added, "I know we haven't always shown it, but we value you. Asking for help isn't easy, but if we lose the house, your mom won't cope." I said I was sorry, I meant it, but I wasn't giving them anything. Not $6,500, not $500, not even $5. He stared like he couldn't believe it, like I was failing some test with the wrong answer. Then he said, "So that's it? You're just going to let your family sink?" I replied calmly, "No, I'm not letting anyone sink. I've been the only thing keeping this family afloat, but I'm done being the lifeboat for people who won't swim." He didn't respond right away. Then he said something that sealed it. "I should have known you'd bail when things got tough." I didn't shout. I didn't argue. I walked to the door, opened it, and said, "You need to leave." He didn't fight. He left in silence. The next day, Mom sent a group text, the kind she sends when things go wrong. "Hi, family. We're in a bind and trying to raise money to save the house. Anything helps. Thank you and God bless." I read it 3 times, searching for any hint of accountability. There was none. Some aunts replied with small offers. "We can give $100. Let us know how to help. Praying for you." I stayed silent. 3 days later, Jacob texted, "Things are tough. I'm selling my console, trying to scrape together what I can. Can you cover the rest? I'll pay you back, promise." No hello, no apology. I replied with one word, "No." He shot back instantly. "So you're really letting us lose the house?" Wow. I didn't respond. What was there to say? Every word I gave them became ammunition, twisted into guilt, used to manipulate. That weekend, Sarah and I went to her cousin's birthday dinner. Her family had started including me in everything, brunches, hangouts, even errands. Her dad asked me to help build a workbench in the garage. Her mom pulled me aside before dinner and said, "You're good for her. I hope you know that." "We're glad you're here." I nodded. My voice might have cracked if I'd spoken. It hit harder than I expected. Later that night, I checked my phone. A new message from Mom. A GoFundMe link. A photo of the house, a goal of $6,500. The caption, "Unexpected hardship. Please help us save our home. Any amount helps." No mention of Jacob, no mention of years of reckless choices, no mention of me. I clicked donate, entered $1, chose anonymous, and sent it. No note, just that. And for the first time, I could breathe. February passed without a word from them. No texts, no voicemails, no emails. The GoFundMe stalled at $640. I checked it once or twice, not out of concern, just curiosity. A few kind comments from people I barely recalled, a former neighbor, Mom's old colleague. They said things like, praying for you, wishing you the best. But no one mentioned Jacob. No one asked why the grown son at home hadn't sold his fancy gaming chair or collectible sneakers or his lifelong sense of entitlement. The house didn't go into foreclosure that month, so someone must have stepped in. Maybe an uncle, maybe an aunt. I didn't ask. I didn't care. I'd moved on, or so I told myself. One weekend, Sarah and I were helping her brother paint a nursery. During a break, I saw a text from an unknown number. Saw you with Sarah's family, looks nice. Guess you forgot us already? I stared, then deleted it. No reply, not worth it. Meanwhile, Sarah's family kept pulling me in gently without expecting anything. I'd fix a sink, and her dad would hand me a sparkling lemonade and ask about my job or basketball. Her mom invited me to bring food to family dinners like I'd always been there. Her little cousin asked if I'd teach him to drive manual when summer came. It was so natural, so steady. No jabs at my expense, no demands for handouts, just acceptance. One Sunday, Sarah's dad called, "We're having a small barbecue. Can you help with the grill?" I showed up, and he handed me the tongs like it was nothing. Didn't ask if I knew how, just trusted I'd manage. Halfway through, Sarah leaned in and asked quietly, "You okay?" I smiled. "Yeah," I said, and I meant it. It felt odd, standing there flipping burgers, laughing with people who didn't know the old me. The guy who used to race across town to pay bills that weren't his. They didn't see someone weighed down or broken. They just saw me. A few days later, Mom tried again. A text. "Can you help with the new TV?" Something small. Ours broke and Jacob's been down. $350 would do it. I stared, then sent $1 with the note, "Tell Jacob to try a book." That was it. No reply. No thank you. Just silence. And for once, that silence didn't feel heavy or painful. It felt earned. By March, the silence was steady, not a standoff, more like quiet acceptance. No texts, no snarky messages from Jacob, no guilt-soaked voicemails from Mom, no random numbers pretending to check in while fishing for help. I expected it to feel lonely. It didn't. Sarah and I had found a rhythm that felt solid. Nothing dramatic, just peaceful. She'd leave silly notes on the counter. "Don't forget eggs," with a goofy chicken sketch. I started looking forward to mundane things like grocery runs or debating over peaches at the market. It wasn't big, but it was real. The real shift hit at a family event on Sarah's side. Her mom asked me to come early to set up chairs for her cousin's baby shower. I thought I'd just help for a bit. But she handed me a task list like I was already part of the team. I didn't question it. I got to work. Later, as we cleaned up, I caught Sarah's dad watching me. I thought he was judging something. But while we took down decorations, he said, "You handle pressure well. Most people would have broken sooner." He didn't elaborate. Didn't say if Sarah had shared anything. But it stuck with me. That night, I scrolled through old messages from my family. Not to reply, just to remember how it felt when they only wanted me in chaos. After a minute, I deleted the whole thread. Then something unexpected happened. Sarah and I were grabbing burritos when she casually said, "Oh, my cousin Lisa invited us to the lake house next month." I paused. The same cousin who kept forgetting my name early on. She laughed. "Yeah, but now you're Elliot, the guy who fixed the grill. You've been promoted." It seemed casual, a weekend trip. But then Lisa's husband, Mark, pulled me aside that Friday night to talk work. He worked at a small firm needing a project manager with IT experience. He didn't know much about me, just what Sarah had said. That I was reliable, organized, easy to work with. He said, "You're not even on LinkedIn, which is weird, but people remember how you make them feel. That's what counts." I hadn't realized I was being considered. We talked for an hour. By the weekend's end, I had a tentative offer. Better hours, better pay, more flexibility. That Sunday morning, Sarah found me on the dock, staring at the water. She asked, "You okay?" I nodded, just thinking. Because it felt strange, like I was stepping into a life not meant for me. A calm life, a better life, a family that didn't use me, an opportunity I hadn't begged for. I told her about the offer. She smiled and said, "Told you they'd like you." The next week, Mom's name appeared on my screen for the first time in months. No voicemail, just a missed call. Then another. Then a text. "Can we talk? Nothing bad? Just talk." For a moment, that old urge to fix things surfaced, but I didn't call. I forwarded the text to Sarah. She replied, "Your life's quieter now. Let's keep it that way." And she was right. The further I got from them, the clearer it became. They didn't miss me. They missed what I provided. And now that I'd stopped being their solution, I was useless to them unless something broke. But I wasn't their backup anymore. I wasn't their last resort. I wasn't a transaction, and for the first time, I wasn't running from something. I had arrived. April brought a peace I hadn't felt before. So quiet, I almost didn't trust it. I kept waiting for the next text, the next demand, the next guilt trip, but nothing came. The phone stayed silent. No emails, no surprise knocks. And for the first time in years, the weight I'd carried, emotional, financial, all of it, was gone. I accepted the job Mark lined up. He texted a start date and onboarding forms like it was no big deal, just casually setting me on a new path. I completed them that day. The pay was better, the work calmer, and no one treated me like a machine built to fix others' messes. Sarah's family found out soon after, not because I told them. I don't like boasting about good news. But Sarah mentioned it to her mom, and soon everyone knew. Her dad invited us over that weekend. He grilled ribs and opened a bottle of sparkling lemonade he usually saved for special occasions. Halfway through dinner, he raised his glass and said, "To Elliot, for knowing when to fight and when to walk away." Everyone toasted. I just said, "Thanks." And that was it. No backhanded comments, no reminders of past mistakes. Just people happy for me, no strings attached. That night back home, I saw a missed call from Mom. No voicemail this time, just a call at 9:46 p.m. from a number I couldn't forget. It sat there like a test I had no interest in taking. A few days later, a voicemail came. "Your cousin mentioned your new job. That's great. I hope you're doing well. We're still here if you want to come back." Just like that. Like I'd taken a short break. Like Christmas never happened. Like years of being used and ignored could be erased with a brief message that didn't even say sorry. I didn't call back. I didn't save the voicemail. I let it disappear. Then in May, Jacob tried again. He sent a screenshot of a flat-screen TV, $350 on sale at Best Buy. One line, "You could help. $350 is nothing for you." No greeting, no apology, just a demand, as always. I didn't get mad. Didn't roll my eyes. Didn't care. I sent $1 with the note. Still too much. He never replied. That was the last I heard from him. That weekend, Sarah and I went to the lake house again. Just us. No plans, no pressure. She brought books. I brought steaks for the grill. We swam, played cards, talked about nothing until sunset. It felt like a life I didn't think people like me got. Saturday night, we sat by the fire. She had a blanket over her legs, hair still wet from the lake. She looked at me and asked, "Do you miss them?" I didn't answer right away. Not because I didn't know, but because I finally understood what she meant. I said, "I miss the version of them I hoped they'd be." But that version wasn't real. I was too close to see it. She nodded once. Good. After she went to bed, I stayed by the fire longer. Opened my phone, scrolled through old messages, then deleted them all. Every thread, every contact, every trace. I didn't want to be tempted. I didn't want to wait. There's a moment when you stop explaining yourself. When you stop hoping someone will get it. When you stop needing an apology. I had stopped. I wasn't waiting for them to change anymore. I had changed, and that was enough. When I crawled into bed, Sarah rolled over, half asleep, and murmured, "Everything okay?" I kissed her forehead and whispered, "Yeah, everything's finally okay." That moment stuck with me more than I expected. It's been months since it all went down. I didn't plan to share more. I thought the story was over. Clean break, new job, Sarah. Her family practically adopting me. The old life was fading in the rear view, but something small happened last week that shook me. Sarah and I were at her parents' for a Sunday lunch, just sandwiches and lemonade in the backyard. Simple, easy. At one point, her mom slipped inside. She returned with a small cardboard box, the kind for a bracelet or keepsake. She smiled, handed it to me, and said, "It's not much. Something we found in the attic." I opened it. Inside was an old Polaroid from our first Thanksgiving together. I was holding a paper plate mid-bite, looking confused but laughing. Sarah was beside me, pointing off-screen, laughing so hard her eyes were shut. I barely remembered the photo. Her mom said, "We kept it because that was the day we knew you belonged here." That hit harder than I was ready for. Not the picture itself, but the fact someone cared enough to save that moment. To keep it. To say, in their quiet way, "You mattered here." That box sits on a shelf in our living room now, next to a plant Sarah swears isn't dying, though I'm skeptical. Anyway, I wanted to share this. Sometimes the biggest moments don't come from grand changes, but from the quiet proof that someone saw you, that you were valued, without needing to give anything in return. So, what are your thoughts on this story? Do you agree with what happened, or do you see it differently? Let us know your opinion in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our upcoming stories. See you in the next one.